Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Gaming Movie Show. My name is Deshaun and today I'm here to review Netflix's The Hitman. Now, no, not The Hitman, just Hitman. Now this movie was made in 2023, but it's just getting released now. I don't know if things got shuffled on Netflix's plate. They got so much content coming out on there that maybe they just had to push this down the road. But it came out now. Now, all disclosure, I only watched this movie because I was bored on a Sunday, saw that it was the #1 movie. I saw the premise of the movie and I was like, sure, I'll check it out. And then I found this gem of a movie, which turns out, like, it's funny, this movie is hilarious to me because when I saw it, because there's so many net movies in general, and there's so many Netflix movies that come out. I mean, there are shows that come out that are fantastic that no one talks about. I love that Percy Jackson show. Clearly other people love that Percy Jackson show because it's got a season 2, but I don't really see anyone talking about it. I don't see anyone that I watch on a regular basis reviewing it or anything like that. So when I watched this movie Hitman and I enjoyed the hell out of it, I remember thinking to myself, you know what? Yeah, I found this gem. Maybe it'll be something I can recommend to somebody or a couple people here and there. Man, tell me one of my good friends don't message me maybe hours later after I watched that movie and he's like, hey man, I recommend The Hitman to you. I was like, yo, that's fucking nuts. And tell me one of the one reviewer that I watch all the time, I watch him review movies and shows all the time, and they don't review all movies and shows. Tell me like literally earlier today, they put out a review on this movie. And then I checked the Rotten Tomato score, and I get it, Rotten Tomato isn't everything, but this movie is hanging at a 97%. I was like, oh my goodness, apparently I ain't the only one. So the Hitman is an interesting story because, first of all, it's based off of a true story, loosely, very loosely. I'd say the first half of the movie is based off a true story. The second half of the movie goes into what if world. So the main protagonist is a guy named Gary Johnston. Now, this movie takes place in Louisiana, but in real life, it took place in Texas. But Gary is this mild-mannered, like, very, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not isolated, not introverted, kind of introverted. He's just kind of this mild-mannered, sort of introverted guy he's a professor at a college. He teaches psychology and philosophy. So, like, you know, that's kind of his thing. When you see him, he's the type of guy that you see and you imagine like he lives a boring life. But meanwhile, on the side, Gary's side gig is he helps out the local law enforcement with, you know, with their operations when they go undercover and stuff to like find out what's going on. But also, in particular, the thing he helps out with is to root out people who are attempting to hire killers for themselves, who are attempting to hire hitmen for themselves. And Gary fell so much into it, and this is real life stuff, that he began to dress up in different outfits and pretend to be these hitmen to get these people to confess that they're trying to hire someone to kill people. And that was a real life thing. And he ended up getting 70 people convicted of, you know, I don't know if that would be attempted murder, trying to hire I guess that would be attempted murder if you're trying to hire someone to murder someone. But in real life, the guy, like, and he was a superstar, and it's so crazy because he's doing all this dress up, he's pretending to be all these different people, but in his regular life, he's this boring fucking dude, and you just would never imagine that he was doing this other thing. And like, that's a cool, interesting premise for a movie. Now, the movie Gary, that beginning part, same thing. He's just this mild-mannered dude working at a college, a professor in a college. I mean, this dude is so square. He comes home, he has his cat's food organized, he has his own food and organized. Like he's that kind of a guy. He's just a by-the-books kind of guy. And like the whole story is that once Gary started to do the assemble, because he's a psychologist and a philosopher, you know, at his heart. At his core, he's fascinated with the human mind, and he's fascinated with the human minds and desires on a level that he studied it enough to get, you know, to be able to teach it for a living. So even though he comes off like this, you know, stone cold character, like in the movie they make a whole point about the super ego, the id, and the ego. And you know, the super ego being the more strict, by the book, like logical guy, and the id being like the just off the chain, you know, raw desire version of yourself. And he makes a big deal about that in the movie. And it makes sense because that is basically the movie in a nutshell. Because old Gary, in the midst of assuming all these personalities, discover things about himself. And sometimes you got to step outside of yourself to discover more about yourself. And once Gary starts stepping outside of himself and pretending to play certain characters, it turns out there are certain attributes in these characters that are more conducive to having a better life. But things take a turn when he meets this beautiful girl. Now, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but he meets this beautiful girl. He gives her advice because he liked her and he thought that she was more innocent and that she was going down a path she didn't want to walk. And when he gave her the advice, he was playing a character called Ron. And Ron was all calm and cool and collected and sex appeal. Like, Ron was a total different guy than how Gary usually is. But Ron is in Gary. Ron is a part of Gary. So, like, it's a very fascinating movie. It's a comedy / love story. It's a fun time, dude. Like, it's a good hour and 50-minute breeze just straight through. I'd give it a 9 out of 10, man. It was a fun movie. I loved Gary. I loved the different outfits. I loved the different approach. The love story was interesting. It was very deep it was actually more deeper than you think it is on a more philosophical level when it comes to you have to find the balance between passion and control. You can't lose control, but you can't lose your passion either, because you need that to be able to do things, because nothing moves, just raw. No, we're not robots. We all have those wants and desires, and Gary had to discover that through playing other people. But thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.